Hello, Yankees Nation. Welcome back to your go-to channel, the one and only New York Yankees News Network, where we bring you the fastest, most authentic, and most exciting Bronx Bombers news out there. Today, we have got some jam-packed Yankees updates fresh from the diamond, all happening just a few hours ago. From dramatic game moments to trade rumblings and player performances, we're covering everything you need to know to stay ahead of the curve as a true Yankees fan. So if you're a die-hard supporter of the Pinstripes, trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of this one. And yes, before we dive into these big-time stories, a quick reminder. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you'll always stay in the loop whenever breaking Yankees news drops. Update 1. Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger save the day. Yankees snap losing streak in electric Subway Series showdown. Alright, let's kick things off with some massive relief for Yankees fans everywhere. After enduring what felt like an eternity of frustration, a 6-game losing streak, to be exact, our Bronx Bombers finally got back in the win column with a thrilling 6-4 victory over the Mets at Citi Field. And trust me, this wasn't just a win, this was a statement victory. The man leading the charge? None other than Aaron Judge, who crushed his 33rd home run of the 2025 season. This wasn't just your typical solo shot. This blast came in the 5th inning, a 2-run bomb over the left center wall, giving the Yankees a commanding 5-0 lead at that point. Judge continues to prove why he's not just the captain but the heartbeat of this team. But let's rewind to how this battle started. Max Fried, making his latest start, had a rocky beginning, committing a pitch timer violation, botching a bunt fielding attempt, and even flinging a wild pitch to the backstop. But Fried showed what gritty Yankee pitching is all about, escaping early trouble by striking out Francisco Lindor and getting Juan Soto and Pete Alonso out to strand a runner at third. Now, offensively, the Yankees took advantage of some questionable Mets pitching choices. Austin Wells, who has been finding his swing lately, opened the scoring with a rocket to right field, his second home run in as many games. And it didn't stop there. Giancarlo Stanton, Cody Bellinger, Anthony Volpe, and DJ LeMahieu all contributed clutch hits and heads-up base running to push the lead to 5 runs. But of course, it wouldn't be a Yankees game without some late drama. The bullpen, which has been shaky in recent outings, let the Mets chip away at the lead. Jonathan Loaisiga allowed the bases to load, and the Mets quickly cut the lead to 5-4. With the tying run on third, who came to the rescue? Aaron Judge again, making a diving catch in right field to rob Starling Marte and save the game. And just when the Mets thought they might steal the momentum, Cody Bellinger had his own superhero moment. In the 7th inning, with Francisco Lindor on base and Juan Soto ripping a liner to left, Bellinger made an insane shoestring catch and then fired a laser beam throw to double off Lindor at first base, ending the threat and electrifying the Yankees' dugout. The final outs came courtesy of Devin Williams, who shut the door in the 9th despite some tense moments. A fired-up Carlos Mendoza was even ejected, arguing balls and strikes, showing just how much this game meant to the Bombers. At the end of the day, the Yankees snapped their losing streak in style, showing the fight and grit that we as fans love to see. Now, they'll take a much-needed day off before facing the Mariners in a critical 3-game series starting Tuesday night. And you can bet the energy from this win will carry into that series. Update 2. Yankees blocked from Bryan Reynolds trade. Latest no-trade list shock revealed. All right, Yankees fans, our next story is a major development in the world of trade rumors, and it directly impacts our Bronx Bombers' potential moves. If you've been keeping an eye on the trade market, you know the name Bryan Reynolds has been floating around as a hot commodity. But just a few hours ago, a bombshell report dropped, changing everything. The Pittsburgh Pirates, who are quietly gearing up for a fire sale this summer, were thought to be dangling Reynolds as one of their biggest trade chips. Reynolds, a 2-time All-Star outfielder, is one of the few available bats in a thin market. Naturally, the Yankees, who could always use another versatile hitter, were a team many speculated could make a run at him. But hold on, there's a twist. Reynolds holds a limited no-trade clause, And according to a fresh report from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, guess who is on his 6-team no-trade list? Yep, the New York Yankees. The Yankees joined the Mets, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Giants, and Padres on Reynolds' personal "Do Not Trade Me Here" list. Now, before Yankees fans panic, let's break down what this means. This doesn't make a trade impossible. Players often waive their no-trade rights if the fit is right, but it certainly makes things complicated. It gives Reynolds leverage to either block the deal entirely or demand something in return, like a contract restructure. Why would he block the Yankees, though? Some players use no-trade lists to control their fate and boost their negotiating power. Plus, on paper, the Yankees already have a crowded outfield, with Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, and Trent Grisham rotating the corners. Adding another high-priced outfielder might not be priority number one. And speaking of high-priced, Reynolds still has more than $77 million remaining on his contract after this season. Combine that with a rough 2025 season where he's hitting just .232 with a sluggish on-base plus slugging percentage, and you have to wonder if the Yankees would want to pull the trigger anyway. The more obvious landing spot? The Padres, who badly need a left fielder. But with their tight budget, even they might struggle to afford Reynolds' hefty contract. And as for other teams, the Royals, Phillies, and Cardinals have all been rumored to have some interest, but they'll need to make the money work. So for now, Yankees fans, don't expect Bryan Reynolds to be roaming the Yankee Stadium outfield anytime soon. But as we all know, in baseball, anything can happen before the trade deadline. We'll keep our eyes locked on this story and bring you updates the second anything changes. Update 3. Austin Wells breaks slump in style as Yankees shake up catcher depth chart. All right, Yankees Nation. Moving on to our final update of the day, and it's all about a young player reminding the Yankees why they've put so much faith in him. Yes, we're talking about Austin Wells, the talented young catcher who just may be finding his swing at exactly the right time. In a weekend that featured big home runs and gutsy pitching performances, Wells put his name back on the map. After going through a cold stretch where he hit just 6 for 37 with 11 strikeouts and barely a whisper of power, Wells has now homered in back-to-back games, showing off the bat speed and raw power that made him one of the Yankees' most exciting young hitters. Let's set the scene from just a few hours ago. Wells stepped up against Mets reliever Zach Pop in the third inning and launched a towering shot to the second deck in right field, opening the scoring in what eventually became the Yankees' much-needed 6-4 win. That blast came one day after he took Frankie Montas deep. And beyond the home runs, Wells also chipped in an RBI groundout in the fourth inning and battled through an 8-pitch at bat in the eighth, eventually lining a single to right field. Manager Aaron Boone was fired up after the game, saying, "That's the Austin Wells we know. That's the bat we've been waiting to see." Wells himself insisted that the circulation issue he's been dealing with in his finger hasn't affected his swing, and it sure looked that way this weekend. But Wells's emergence came alongside some roster shuffling. Just hours before the game, the Yankees traded catcher Alex Jackson to the Orioles for international signing bonus pool money and a player to be named Latterer, potentially just cash. Jackson, who had been with the AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre team, will now suit up for Baltimore, filling in after former Yankee Gary Sanchez hit the injured list with a knee issue. It's just the latest example of the Yankees catching carousel this season. They've already moved on from or lost Luis Torrens, Jose Trevino, Carlos Narvaez, and Kyle Higashioka in various ways. But despite all the turnover, they've stuck with Wells as their guy, confident in his long-term upside behind the plate. With Ben Rice still seeing occasional time at catcher and the possibility of other call-ups if needed, the Yankees appear to be betting big on Wells to hold down the position as they try to keep pace in the American League East. And if this weekend was any indication, that bet just might pay off. It's worth noting, too, that Giancarlo Stanton showed some firepower himself, crushing a 118 miles per hour double, his 58th such batted ball since 2015, far ahead of the next closest hitter, Oneil Cruz, with 19. On the pitching side, Max Fried, despite arguing a pitch clock violation in the first inning, bounced back to strike out Francisco Lindor in a key spot and gut through 5 innings of tough baseball. His fire and competitiveness set the tone early, helping the Yankees snap their 6-game skid. Bottom line, Yankees fans, Austin Wells is heating up, the Bombers are making savvy depth moves, and the energy feels different heading into the Mariners series. And that's a wrap for today's Yankees Nation update, right here on the New York Yankees News Network, your one-stop home for the latest breaking stories straight from the Bronx. We saw a huge win against the Mets to stop the losing streak, got the latest on the Bryan Reynolds no-trade drama, and watched Austin Wells remind everyone why he's a key part of the Yankees' future. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single piece of Yankees news again. Until next time, this is the New York Yankees News Network, signing off. Stay proud, stay strong, and as always, let's go Yankees.